Okay. I will call the meeting to order. We will do roll call, please.
Okay. Chair Christine Adams.
Present.
Vice Chair Kate Truesdell. Present. Mark Husbands.
Present.
Thank you. Monica Johnson is not present. Karen Miller.
Present.
Cody Phelps.
Present.
Stephen Young.
Present.
We have Councilmember Jim Woodward
Present.
and Inglewood School Liaison Gary Manfrey.
Present.
And we have guest Barb Bowman. All right.
Thank you.
And staff, we have Director Christina Underhill and Aquatics Manager Brad Anderson.
Wonderful. I know we received the minutes earlier. Are there any changes to the minutes? And if not, may I get an approval to the previous minutes?
So moved.
You have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Wonderful. And then recognition of public comment. Sure.
Already?
Already, that was quick. We just keep things moving.
Thank you guys very much. I'm just going to sit down. My knee hurts.
Absolutely.
Okay, first of all, I'd like to thank you all for allowing me to speak. I'd like to ask one question to start. How many of you play golf? So we have a couple.
I play.
Play regularly, I guess I'll say. I think once in a while. Okay, that's pretty regular. I hold a golf tournament. I've held a golf tournament for the past 5 years in honor of my late husband. Knowing this is a public course, I don't have the expectations that the course is going to be in pristine condition. It is a public course. However, this year's tournament was a huge disappointment. We have this tournament planned and on the calendar at the golf course since January of 2022. And come to find out, the day before our tournament started, the irrigation project was also going to start. I have given this golf course a lot of money over the years, so did my late husband. And we had people coming in from out of town only to find they were playing a tournament where the actual course was in somewhat of a shambles. Temporary greens, temporary tee boxes. As you may or may not know, tournaments are not cheap. And frankly, I was embarrassed to have people come in from out of state to play at Broken Tee. And what I'm asking them to pay to play there. I would like to continue to have this tournament played at Broken Tee. I invested money in a bench on hole 14 in honor of my husband, because there's still a majority of his friends and family that play there, and it's a good reminder of his memory. But if the conditions continue to decline, I personally feel you are going to lose members. No one wants to play on a course where the day-to-day basis, they don't know what the conditions are going to be like. My husband was a member of the men's club for 30 plus years. He would be upset to see what shape the course is in today. I understand improvements will take time and money, and I see them in the parks for children, which is great. But how much money do the parks make? How often are the pavilions being rented out and not just used? I see plenty of people on the golf course whenever I drive down Oxford or go there. Why don't you make improvements on the golf course where the money is being made on a daily basis? In closing, I would like to ask what improvements are planned for the future outside of the irrigation, how much notice will be given to the golf course for planned improvements. I would like to keep my tournament at Broken Tee because it has a lot of, we've lived in Inglewood our whole life. It was his home course, but I don't know if I can good faith continue to ask friends from out of state and even in state to pay for a course that's under construction or big piles of dirt everywhere. Again, I understand this is a public course, but I have played at numerous public courses and they are in much better shape than Broken T. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Barb.
Question. Is there a certain date that you have this tournament every year?
We have it the third, and it's always been, is the third Friday in September. So it's not like, you know, and so January, 1st of January, we set that date, which I know things take time, and like I said, planning, and maybe that was the only time irrigation could have been done. We have the tournament on a Friday. I don't know why it couldn't have waited till Monday. I'm sure there's a reason. I don't know what the reason is.
Yeah. You want me to, Joey, take it? Okay, I'm Christina Underhill. I'm the director for Parks, Recreation, Library, and Golf, so I oversee Broken T as well. This irrigation project is a one-time thing. We've been saving for many years. It's $1.6 million project.
And I know that.
And so this is the unfortunate piece is there's no good time in the golf world to do the irrigation. Unfortunately, they did just kick off the project right around the time that your tournament was going on. The contractor did promise to do as best as they could to not disrupt the course throughout, and it's hard. We're digging holes everywhere.
Well, the temporary green, the temporary, you know, it was bad.
Bad, yeah.
It was bad.
So I'm sorry that happens, but the good news is this is done at the end of this year, and we're not going to be touching the irrigation on the 18 holes for a long time moving forward, and we'll just see, hopefully, the greens, especially on the back nine, only get better now that we have an efficient irrigation system installed. So I hope this is a one-time thing that unfortunately your tournament paid for it. And it wasn't a great experience, but moving forward, hopefully it'll be a great experience and much better greens in the future here. It'll probably take 2 or 3 years before we really see some nice changes.
Okay.
So also just I'll explain the budget too for the golf course. It's not supported by the City of Inglewood General Fund. They're an enterprise fund, and so they're self-sustaining. Every dollar that's brought in goes back to pay the staff, to do maintenance daily, to do future improvements. I'm not sure exactly how many years it took the course to save the money for the irrigation project, but it was well over 10 years in the making before they finally had the funds to do so. We are going to be working on a master plan for the golf course starting next year, which will address many of the aging infrastructure issues to figure out how do we fund this going forward, how our rates compare to others in the front range to make the course really nice in future years. And so,
I mean, and there's many holes that are good.
Yeah.
It's not that. If you've played there recently, you know.
Yeah.
But, you know, coming down 13 or 14 where the big mound of dirt's
Yeah.
there and the, you know,
that's a
there's
work in
just,
progress, but
there's
yes.
just nothing. I mean, it's kind of an eyesore.
Sure.
And again, you know, a lot of the other courses, again, I can't say how they're funded, but they're public. They're not in that good of shape.
Sure.
I mean, Inglewood compared to them, it's just kind of sad.
Yeah, and we are working on that particular hole, and we did just hire a brand new superintendent.
I was just gonna ask, is the superintendent willing to put the work in to make it a better course?
Oh, 100%. We're impressed with him, and we'll let you guys know at our next meeting who it is. He just accepted the offer today.
Is he from around here?
He
I'm
is.
just
And I'll have to say, for all interview candidates that we've ever gone through, he has been at the course almost daily, either playing, meeting staff.
So you can't tell me his name yet?
Not yet,
Okay.
no, not yet. It's not quite official. The paperwork's still in process.
Right.
But he's been in the industry a long time and knows his stuff. So we're excited for that change. Our previous superintendent did some really good improvements to the course, but it's always a work in progress, as you know.
Of course.
Grass doesn't grow overnight.
No, it does not.
Major changes takes time. So we have seen, since I started in 2020, I remember my first walk on the course and first time I played it, and I think it's gotten better over the last 2 years. There has been a few issues that, like the mound of dirt is a work in progress, and they have some plans for that to get that better. But yeah, I think we'll see improvements, and I like your feedback. I appreciate your feedback. And for next year, I'll talk to Shannon too and share your concerns with her as well. So.
Well, she knows.
Okay.
Trust me.
Yeah.
Because she told me the day before the tournament, she goes, I just got informed, whether, you know, I don't know.
Yeah.
that they're starting tomorrow, and we were like, really?
It was kind of a last minute, we can start now and we'll be done before the end of the year versus initially they were gonna start when they did, or actually they were gonna start in October and it wouldn't be done till next year. And
Right.
that was gonna impact play much longer than we wanted it to, so.
Well, and if I may, we usually limit this to 3 minutes because you're the only one. We're extending it a bit, but.
Thank you. It would, you know,
Yeah,
I do
absolutely.
appreciate that.
Thank you for coming. This is absolutely the forum for you to voice this. And so we are representatives of our community, so thank you for coming to us and concerning and voicing your concerns in this. If the council is amenable, I would be happy to write an email to the new superintendent, even though this was not on their watch at the time, just to be more communicative, whatever. With,
I know what you mean.
yeah. With the bookings on the course, because certainly this probably was not a one-time thing. So that if there are disruptions, that it happens, that communication is happening in the future. I certainly apologize. I'm sure that the contractor knew before one day in advance that they were gonna be on the course.
That's what I would think.
You know, whether it's, you know, I've worked in this industry a long time, so it may not have been a long time in advance, but
No, but-
any time
Right.
would be certainly a courtesy. So I apologize on behalf of.
And I mean, I know there's a lot of tournaments that go on, so we're not the only one.
Absolutely.
But, you know, the men's club, they know
Yeah.
what the course is like.
Right, and
And-
you should have been extended the same courtesy,
And,
so.
yeah,
So thank you for coming. We will address that, and we sincerely appreciate you being here and
Thank you.
to do that.
well, thank you for
Truly.
letting me talk. I do appreciate your time.
Can we keep your written letter?
Oh, yeah, but sure. I've crossed out, added,
They're fine. It gives me the highlights, so.
there was a couple things that, you know, it was kind of mean and I.
You cross out all the cuss words?
No, I took out the ones that were maybe not quite necessary.
Okay.
Just saying. Again, thank you all.
Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for coming.
Bye, Barb.
Bye.
Okay, I don't see any other public comment. Was there anybody else from the commission who'd like to comment on that before we move on?
I mean, I'm guessing like, do we post signs or anything when we have
It
improvements?
was, yes, and
Like, send
I
out,
want
like,
to
an
follow up on this because I know there was a
Yeah.
lot of complaints, but we also used a lot of social media
Yeah.
posts, emails
Yeah.
went out to the leagues. I'll check on the tournament, it might have been missed, but we'll follow up on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, the impact to the irrigation project was fairly minimal, where
Yeah.
it wasn't the whole back 9 that went down, it was one hole at a time and they were very precise.
Yeah.
So there's a few things she mentions that we'll talk to the new superintendent about and see if we can address it. Again, it takes time. Landscaping takes time to
Yeah,
really look nice.
Absolutely.
I was just wondering how that permitting goes and with that communication.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if she's like, she was very upset and it is like in honor of her husband. I don't know if there, like anything we could do, even like a gift card to like the new restaurant there or something to kind of like make her feel a little bit special. Just, we hear you, we're sorry,
Yeah.
you know?
I'll mention.
I don't know if we can do anything like that.
Yeah, the men's club has been there.
Yeah, okay. She's
They
your
have
friend.
been, and that's okay.
You're in charge, Karen.
The clubs, you know, they have a lot of passion towards our course and it's their home course for many of them. And so we did hear and we continue to hear the challenges with the irrigation project. Again, it's such a quick turnaround. This should have been a 6-month thing and they're knocking it out in 3,
Yeah.
which is wonderful, or 4. So yeah, it'll get better.
I think the other hard thing is when you're trying to plan and you have a tournament the third week in September
That's
in
late.
Colorado, it's,
Yeah.
it's,
That's kind of a late time for like a golf tournament. I think you want to do it in the summer.
But
Okay.
it's also sounds like that's a little bit when you do the maintenance too, because it's before the ground part and after the tournament ends. So it's a little bit, it's hard to plan both of those things around.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I guess you don't want to go suggest like, hey, can you move this to July because maybe it's a special time of the year for her. I don't know.
Yeah, it's pretty busy in our summertime, so September might have been good if she had people flying in, I get that, so,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, we'll move on to new business. Director Underhill.
Yeah, so with Dave Lee's retirement, we had an opportunity with the salary savings to do some different things. And one thing I'd been considering for over a year now is getting a deputy, because I oversee technically 5 divisions with events, parks, recreation, library, and golf. And the opportunity came up to hire a deputy director for parks and recreation to help on that side of the department. And so I'm happy to announce we did have a successful internal candidate, and he's sitting right here, Mr. Brad Anderson.
Yay.
So Brad will be our new deputy.
Congratulations.
You? Me? Don't you let them, Karen.
Oh,
You're gonna see me more frequently now.
oh, still my
No,
heart.
that doesn't mean you leave Pirates
Oh,
Cove.
that means he's leaving
That
Pirates
means
Cove.
I'm leaving Pirates Cove. Yes. I'll
Leaving
be up
it
there
to
at
who?
Civic Center.
Exactly. No,
I
we'll
think
be,
that's
we'll be
great.
posting the aquatics manager here soon and get that position filled, probably after the new year, most likely, just the way things work with hiring people. But we want to get somebody on board before the season gets too close, get them trained. And Brad will still have oversight at Pirates Cove under the recreation division, so it's not totally.
He's gotta have
deserted.
ownership. He's been there since,
He built that place.
well, yes, since it was a hole in the ground
Brown, yeah.
We're all fighting over his office at Pirates.
3 holes.
I'll come by on Tuesday and Thursday morning.
Well, with that, let's hand it over to Brad.
Our new deputy director.
Yeah.
For the aquatics
Yes.
update.
This is the products update. There's those, Jane, if you want. And you got it?
Yeah.
They just don't have it.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want extras? Yeah.
So as listed in the report for 2022, this past season of Pirates Cove, it was a very difficult year to come in and play, and part of that was with the lifeguard, the national lifeguard shortage, and it did impact us greatly. I was telling Christina, we were meeting the other day and stuff, and I said, when it came to the second week of May, I did not know we were gonna open. In fact, I was betting that we weren't gonna make it, just because we didn't have any lifeguards. All the other staff positions were full, but lifeguards just didn't have enough of them. So what happened was we had to delay the opening. The opening, we had to delay 2 weeks because the staff wasn't there. It's the latest time I've ever seen staff, lifeguards particularly, to apply for a position. All the other positions were full except for the lifeguards and stuff. So we worked a number of different schedules, every which way that we could, and we came up with it. We couldn't open 7 days a week, so we had to eliminate one of the days, and one of those days that we decided to eliminate was on Mondays. So we weren't Mondays. And here on the report there, you'll see the days of operation. There was a possibility of 86 operational days, and we ended up operating 64 days out of the summer. 2 of those days were weather related. We could not open because of rain and temperatures, but other than that, so it was way down. Is there a silver lining in the cloud? There is, because we were able to meet revenue budget and expenditure budget, and partly due because the weather was so good the rest of the year. I mean, all summer long it was dry, and we brought people in. So that's kind of reflected on the right-hand side there as far as what attendance was. Last year we had 86,000 people come in. This year we had just under 70,000 people that come through the doors. So it was kind of a miraculous thing that we were able to go ahead and meet budget with everything. And the comparison that's on the report there is from 2019 all the way up to this past current year. So that's the thing. The other thing that's happened at Pirates Cove, just to keep you aware, there are projects going on. I think we met out there in June, didn't we? Is it you guys, Parks and Rec Commission, were out there in June?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We had just completed the play structure renovation with that one. That's almost complete. There's one more slide that I have to put in together. It fell apart during the year. So that will be taking place in 2024. So with the play structure, it looks good. Got a lot of really good comments on that one. What we did is saved a lot of money on that one. A new structure would have cost us over $1 million and totally renovated for about $250,000. So that was a good thing that we did there. The other thing was we had to replace some of the concrete because of drainage issues right in front of between the concession stand and the leisure pool. That project was completed, and as they were finishing the concrete this spring, it rained. And it didn't stop. It kept raining, so it got ruined. But I met with the contractor after that happened, and he agreed to come back this fall. He was going to do it the next day and stuff. I said, you know what? Let's wait. we're too close to opening, so what we're gonna do is go ahead and redo it in the fall when we had more time and stuff. So happy to say that that went on without a hitch. The concrete's been replaced and we're in good shape. We also replaced an umbrella, shade umbrella. The tree that was outside of the concession stand, it decided to no longer live. So we removed it instead of replacing the tree, went ahead and put a shade umbrella up that matched the other umbrellas in the park. So that was done. We actually put 2 umbrellas up in that area, and we're looking to expand that to another umbrella this year that's closer to the pro shop and the front entryway. So there'll be a little bit more shade for stuff. So that's kind of what happened to Pirates Cove. Looking forward to continuing to work. Oh, the resurfacing project. Decided to put that in the project for 2022 is to resurface the leisure pool and also resurface the lazy river. And everything was good and set to go except for their supply chain issues, I've heard.
Imagine
And that hit us, that we could not get the product. But we didn't get the product in place or it did not arrive until the latter part of June. So they went ahead and shipped it. It was stored at the contractor's location. And so the leisure pool was redone. So it has been resurfaced. It's gone through everything. It will fill the pool back up to complete the process of it curing. The lazy river, as we was doing some demolition to it, we had on the contract to replace I think it was something like 64 square feet of tile at the water line. Well, what happened was, as during demolition, we found out that most of the plaster behind was hollow. So what we had to do is extend it to $104,000. So that went to council, thank you. They did approve that one, which it just made sense. If we wouldn't have done that, then we would have been replacing tile all the time. So the tile has been replaced and we were looking to do the replastering of that after we got the tile on. But what happened with the delay of going to council with it, everything else, and getting the product down, and waiting a couple weeks for tile, that the weather now just isn't warm enough to go ahead and do the plastering of it. So we have put that off until spring. So that'll be coming up for 2023 too. So any questions on the report or anything? Okay.
I have just like one thought.
Okay.
Like how early do we start recruiting lifeguards? Like the lifeguard shortage blew my mind because that was like my favorite job growing up. So I don't know how no one wanted to do it. But I'm wondering if like there's anything we can start doing like early, even like going to the high schools and trying to convince kids to like become lifeguards so that we don't run into the shortage again.
Yeah, there's a couple things that we tried, we're gonna be trying differently. The whole hiring process actually, believe it or not, starts in December.
Okay.
And what that does is we go out and we send all the past staff what their intent is to come back for the following summer. So that will continue with that one. There is a new supervisor for Pirates Cove that we have. She came in, she's from a water park down in Texas, H2O, not H2O Bryan, it is NRH2O. And one of the things that she said, can we start doing maybe a meeting with the staff?
Yeah.
They're going to return. So we're going to do a meeting with them, have something offsite, maybe have some pizza or something, and just talk to them, just get excited so the kids will see each other, that they don't see each other. And then that will start that process. We're looking to do that at the end of December or first part of January. And then in January, we have pretty much the numbers that are going on. And then we, with the help of communications, sat down with Lucia and Vanessa and said, let's really start hitting this hard in December and into January. And then during the year, this past year, when we were up and running, took some videos and testimonies of staff that said, hey, why do you like working at Pirates Cove? So that stuff will be going on to social media. That will go on to TikTok.
Great.
We're meeting with communications. I will be closer and just come up with ideas, and we're going to bombard social media. In fact, what we're doing now is we're posting more and more about Pirates Cove on Instagram.
Yeah.
So if you're not on the Instagram page, do that one. There's a post coming out today of the old St. Clair pool for Throwback Thursday. So that's it. But we're going to try to post at least 2 or 3 times a week.
Cool.
And just so that's going to allow the staff also, so it's always fresh in their mind.
Great.
To do that one. So yeah, we're working on it because we know It's right around the corner.
So weird.
Do they still get college? I got college credit. Do they still have college credit for it?
There's some, we're gonna try to work some stuff out with Inglewood schools also, that it's a PE credit.
Yeah.
Because
I got
there's
mine.
some agencies doing that
Love
one. And we might reach into the Littleton schools, the closer school districts, and see
Yeah.
if that happens. So, yeah, those are just the things that we're looking into right now to try to get that going. But colleges, it's weird with recruiting, is over the last probably 6-7 years, we're not getting the college kids. Because what we're finding is colleges now are having the kids do internships.
Well, I was in high school.
So,
but I
oh, you're in
got
high school,
college
yeah.
credit.
Okay, you got college credit?
Yeah, so I got
Oh,
my
that's cool, we
PE
can do that.
credits for college.
Do they require PE credits for college?
Yeah,
Yes.
at the time they did.
I did.
I
They
mean,
still
this
do.
was a long time ago. Yeah.
Elective, I think, for me, but yeah.
Yeah, but
Interesting.
still, I mean, it was an elective, so I got elective credits
No, it's
for
a good
college
idea. We
already.
can look into that too. So the other thing that we had with the lifeguard shortage is once we had the numbers up to where we wanted to be, that what we found out is the lifeguards did not want to work the normal days that they did in the past. In fact, they'd come to us and they would say, oh, I can only see myself working 1, maybe 2 days a week.
What?
And they're going, huh?
Oh, you
And
do that in adults anymore. It's
I mean, I get
insane.
adults, but when I was like a
No,
high
I mean,
schooler,
but
Yeah, it
we're
was like
You wanted to work?
talking
more.
22, 23, 24,
Yeah.
they don't want to.
oh my God, all I wanted to do was like make money,
Me
get
too.
a tan,
Yeah.
make money with my friends.
Then they even took it a step further and they were saying, oh, well, can I just work 10 to noon? And they're going, no, a
10 to
shift
noon.
is from 10 to 2:30. And so,
Did
yeah.
you really swim your fun?
So there, that really is what happened with us being closed on Mondays. When you tried to put the schedule together, we didn't have enough lifeguards to work, so
Interesting.
we will probably do the governor did put out a grant for us. We did
Yeah.
apply for that grant. It was up to $25,000. We got 12,500. We got half of that.
We asked for all of it.
Yeah, we asked for all of it, definitely, yeah, just give us that, we're okay.
Yeah.
But what happened was, that helped us out with an incentive program, that if they stayed the whole, if they worked up to April 7th and worked a minimum of 20 hours a week, then they got $100 of August.
August
Yeah,
7th,
August 7th.
April.
Yeah, August, it's an A. But the reason for that one is to give an incentive to the college students. I didn't want to exclude them, so that before they went, I didn't want to penalize them when they went back to college.
Yeah.
And then if you stayed all the way through Labor Day, then you got a $250 bonus. And part of that too that we did towards the end of August is we went ahead and did an incentive of, if you pick up a shift that's empty, we'll give you $25.
That's great.
And so we ended up spending, it was $14,000. So really it only hit us about $1,500 on the budget.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And word is that they're gonna run that grant again, hopefully next year. So that'll be good.
Do our lifeguards in the summer still compete with the other water parks, lifeguard?
Yeah, there is. It's called the Lifeguard Games. CPRA has
Yeah.
the Lifeguard Games. And it's usually in July, and that was formed a number of years ago to help combat burnout. So we did not attend that this year
Okay.
because we didn't have the staff.
Yeah.
Because the good thing about it is if they attend Lifeguard Games, it usually starts at 7 o'clock and then they get to stay at no cost in Water World the rest of the day. But we were so short-staffed that I didn't even broadcast it. I said, unfortunately.
They had
we
done
couldn't.
pretty well in that past, didn't they?
Yeah, we have one first place, we have a second place, we have some fourth, third,
But the
so
water
yeah,
world team
we
is
do.
really good at
The
doing
goal this year is to go ahead and do it again. Absolutely.
That's also like
Great.
20 years ago.
I think that's a social media too.
It
It should
is.
be
I love
utilized
it.
in our
I can't believe
social
it.
media
Yep.
recruitment.
Yep. We're picking that up, social media presence.
Cool. Well, thanks.
Thank you.
I don't see any of it on social media.
You're not on TikTok?
No,
Or
Twitter.
Our Twitter, yeah, we don't do much.
I only look at
I
next
don't
door.
tweet.
Dance, Jim?
I don't tweet, I don't tweet.
I only twit.
Yeah, we're gonna move on before this.
It's going to digress from here, so go ahead.
Old business park construction update.
So what we did is, we're looking for a bond issue initiative in possibly next year, 2023. We went ahead and we've got a expansion study that we did with Councilman Hunsaker. It just so happens that Councilman Hunsaker was the company that built Pirates Cove, built the pools. So they're pretty well aware of what we have there. And some of the things that we have, also what we did is we tied into the recreation center, the same thing, and technical difficulties.
Yeah, we can't get the,
Yeah,
get on the
okay,
screen.
I'm going to just try to open just the, continue talking.
Yeah,
I don't know where I'm going.
and I jumped ahead anyways.
My cheat sheet.
I'm gonna see if I can just.
Your
open
cheat
the
sheet's
file.
not up there now?
I know it's not, but, so what we did was we went ahead and we went out to Councilman Hunsaker, did a plan. They did a plan for us also in 2015. They also did a plan for us back in 2008, I believe it was, 7 or 8, for an expansion to it. And one of the things that we want to do with expansion, with not just an aging facility, but we need to keep it fresh. We need to keep it newer. And part of that is revenue, is people want to see something new all the time. If we don't continue to be on that side of generating, we want to generate more revenue. If we're not having new rides or anything like that, chances are that they're not going to come as frequently. So that's the big look at it. And part of that was the refurbishing of the play structure. That was going to be part of that one, but we were able to go ahead and refurbish it at a cheaper price. So then we go to expand, we're going to have a little bit more money. I mean, you know, close to $750,000 is what will happen with that one. Some of the things that we looked at was redoing a couple of the areas. The 2 areas looked really strongly at was the sand play area and then also the competitive pool. The problem that we're having with the competitive pool right now due to construction back at 2004 when we opened up is there's a lot of breakage of pipes going on over the years. So we're having to continue to fix them. And it looks like they heated the tees to where it went into the main line that went around the pool. So we're continuing having to look at that one. So we came up with a few different areas that we would like to target at. We're going to look at the sand play area. There's nothing really big that we can do it, but we might move our pro shop or treasure chest into that one and have some type of food stuff there too to generate more revenue. Up here, what Debbie has right there is a look at the overhead view, an aerial photo of Pirates Cove, and the ones outlined in red there, the 12,600 square feet, that's how much room we have to play with at Pirates Cove right now. So next one, Debbie, you'd advance it, that'd be great. So one of the things we looked at, and this was back in our 2015 study that we did as well, if you look there to the north, overlooking it to the yellow part that's going down, probably the length of the lazy river and the leisure pool, that is a mat racer to where you lay on a mat head first and you go down that. It's a 4-lane racer. And then next to that one, there's a pavilion, which would host probably 100 to 150 people. And so that would be to generate revenue from a corporation or a group that wants to take it and rent it for the day. We would do that one. Then there's 4 more cabanas that are over there. And the nice thing about the cabanas, it's just more revenue that we would generate. The 5 that we have right now, we're just generating $18,000 to $19,000 every single year. They're up, they're all paid for, so it's just free money that we're actually getting from that one. Down in the competitive pool that's in the lower right hand of that one is a wave pool and also a kids play area of water. And then there's a lily pad walk, and there's some pictures of that coming up here in a little bit. So that's the area that we're targeting right now. Go ahead, Debbie. This is the play area that we could have a rock feature, and then we could have some geysers and stuff in there. It'd be a maximum depth of 3.5 feet with a 0 depth entry. When really studying that a little bit, we have a leisure pool. This is 0 depth entry, 3.5 feet. So we kind of taken that one off, but it's still up in contention if we find it viable to do that. Next slide. That's a lily pad walk that walks across. So that could be one of the components we could put in there also. Next slide. This is another part that we can replace the competitive pool with a slide structure. So that would give us a total of 6 slides at the park itself. So that one we're looking at, but one of the things that's kind of in the industry right now is people love to just sit and soak in a pool, in a body of water. And we see that in the comp pool every single day when we're open. people just hang out in the 3.5 to the 5 foot of water. I mean, it's just something that they like doing. Next slide, Debbie. So this is just a little bit breakdown of a different slide complex that we could do. There's 2 slides in there. This takes up the whole area and stuff, and it may be a little bit too much because like I said, I kind of want to have a sit and soak pool in that area to do that one. Next slide, Debbie. This is a wave pool and also a mat racer. Kind of like this idea for a little bit, but I always wanted to get a wave pool in there, and even tried to do that at the time of design for Pirates Cove back in 2003, but it would be a relatively small one, and so it kind of doesn't make sense with that one, and we're just kind of missing that component of just an easier sit and soak pool too. Next slide. With this one, it just goes to another wave pool, but then the mat racer is brought back. So that's just a different variation that we could do. Next slide. This is a look at the mat racer that is similar to one that we would project to put in there. And then there's one in the upper right-hand corner is a wave pool that would be about the size that is spec'd in it. It's relatively small. It would probably be highly utilized, but it also kind of be a difficulty guarding this stuff all the time. So kind of taking that one off the plate a little bit. Next slide. This one here is kind of what we're looking at is it's got the slide. So we got that feature to have another one. These would be tube slides where you go down the slide with a tube. And then just next to that slide is there's kind of like a figure 8 per se. And with that one would be that sit and soak pool that we could do. And there could be some different features in that as well. So next slide. This is that same variation, but with a different type of a sit and soak pool too. And then next slide.
Oh, now it's,
Now you have to
Scroll down.
go.
all right, let's try this way.
There you go. So that's the tube slides that would come down. You see the mat racer to the side of it. That would be separate. The mat racer would be just further west on there, but it's just showing like a kid coming down in a tube. Next slide. This is just a sit and soak pool, some different amenities you can put in. You can put a basketball court in, you can put a volleyball court in. Then the lower left, you could have a 0 depth entry one with loungers. That could be a possibility to where we could actually rent a lounger for a day or for half a day or something. So just another piece that we could add revenue to. Next slide. So the top 2 were kind of the finalists, and the one on the upper right is the one we're looking at. But what truly to get the effects that we want, we'd also add a mat racer to that one.
Yeah.
Is what we would do. Next slide. Then the Inglewood Rec Center. The Inglewood Rec Center has been there for 38 years. It was 38 years in March is what it was. So really haven't done a whole bunch there. We've added a couple slides. If you look back at the old pictures of the Rec Center pool, it's just like, wow. I mean, it's just, there's nothing there. It's kind of boring. So sat down and we really tried to look at a couple of things. One is a Ninja Cross and one is a Flow Rider. Next slide. What we have here is a Ninja Cross. It's actually a piece of equipment that's relatively new that's been out there. And if you look at the competitions, the Ninja competitions on TV and everything, this is used. It's not really a fun apparatus. It's more of an exercise apparatus. But the nice thing about it is you can do a lot of different things with it. It can be a competition for teens. We don't have a whole bunch of teens, so truly we'd like to target the teen population to come and use it. We also can use it for fitness classes. We also can program it with different types of class just to use the different pieces of it.
Is like TRX or like the things hanging for like the fitness classes?
Yeah, they are hanging, and there's different things you can change out. It retracts up into the ceiling and it'll come down to in about a minute is when it's back in. So that's something we're kind of looking at. Christina brought that idea back from one of the trade shows and stuff. So we're looking hard at that one. Thornton just put one in, City of Thornton, at the renovated Margaret Carpenter Recreation Center. So I'm in touch with their people, their aquatics people there, and just getting different ideas and what do you like, what don't you like? Next slide. And then a Flow Rider. A Flow Rider, when was looking at in 2015 to expand Pirates Cove, the Flow Rider was in that study. After that time, I got to think and I go, wow, what if we put a Flow Rider at the rec center that could be used 24, 12 months out of the year versus just 3 months out of the year. Another place to where we can target the teens, the black area that's there towards the bottom left, that is how much we'd have to expand in to put that piece of equipment in. So that's there, and there's, next slide, Debbie, should be a picture of one on the right-hand side. There's a flow rider. It also, you can boogie board on it.
Would that be where the sand volleyball court is?
No, this would be in the parking lot.
Oh,
So
okay.
when we looked at it, it would take about 4 or 5 parking spaces is what it would do, so. And then the Ninja Cross is there on the left-hand side.
I love those. I love these both.
Yeah, the flow riders. The thing with flow rider is nobody in the state of Colorado has one.
That's what I was gonna say. I don't think,
Except
I only
for-
see them in like,
Waterworld
Cruise
has
ships.
one. And-
you know, that's awesome.
Yeah, exactly, Crew. That's where I got my first.
Yeah,
one.
I feel like that
Fell
would
in love
be
with it.
great.
But the thing about it is with nobody having one in Colorado, except for Waterworld, but Waterworld don't even let you do stand-up surfing.
Oh.
And it's easy to just cross, stop surfing and have a time just for boogie
Yeah.
boarding too. So,
Yeah.
but once again, that's a market to where the teens, that could open up a whole
Absolutely.
whole bunch of people come into the rec center, and then that crosses over to programming, it crosses into the areas of the rec center. It's also a great spectator sport.
Yeah.
People just love to sit there and watch people
Yeah.
wipe out on the things. But then there's the other possibility for revenue for the rec center too is maybe we have a little drink bar.
Ooh.
Jamba Juice, smoothies, those types of things.
No,
But
no,
that's not alcohol.
Non-alcohol.
But that's something too.
Please try.
Yeah.
What kind of
Cocktail and
maintenance
flow
does
ride?
something like that?
Yeah, there you go.
The flow rider?
Yeah.
The flow rider's not too bad. It's just basically a sheet of water that's spread up along there. So there would be some stuff you'd have to do once a year to it.
But not too bad for
No.
maintenance.
But you could even do like lessons, like programming, like teach people how to do it too and
Yes,
charge
you
them.
can.
Yeah, I love
Yep.
that.
It'd be a good core, it'd be a good core one.
Yeah.
Okay, we're not done yet, I'll hold my.
No, okay, next. We're almost done. We're almost there. That's just a couple more looks of the Ninja Cross.
Yeah, I love that too.
So cool.
Next slide, Debbie. Those are just costs, the bad part, there's,
Those are just the costs.
yeah,
Just the
5.2
cost,
million
no
up
biggie.
to, really talking about 9 million for the flow rider to go in with that one. One thing that was kind of eye-opening when I looked at the budget, the price of it is, if you go back to 2004 when we opened up Pirates Cove, $8 million to build Pirates Cove.
Yeah.
Wow.
And these are just adding a few elements.
Yeah, that's just a couple elements. So the cost has went up in the last 20 years, so. And that's it.
Shock.
Any more discussion on a hot?
A hot tub, yeah. What do you think, Brad?
We can have an off-bar conversation if you really want to talk about hot tubs.
I would very much like to.
Did you know the
Only
average
on-
person perspires 2 cups of sweat in a
Yeah,
140
I
hot tub?
hear this argument a lot, but the public has
I know
mentioned a
they do.
hot tub
I
a
know they do.
lot.
One of the things that I did ask,
And as a representative of the public,
Public.
You want a hot tub?
I'd like to keep mentioning a hot tub.
I know. On the scope for the rec center, I did ask them to put in the cost and stuff of a hot tub, of a spa,
Yeah.
is what I would do. So when we start getting closer and we start having to crunching numbers and everything, that's something we can look at. I'm opposed to spas, but that's just because of the upkeep.
Sure.
With it, the maintenance for spas are so much more than what you have for a pool,
Sure.
per se. But I hear you. I hear that when we redid the rec center with the expansion of it, I had 3 ladies walk into where the party area was and walk back out and marched right over to me and he asked me where the hot tub was. I said, there was no hot tub in this project.
There's the
They
drive.
said, yes, there was. But I will keep that, I'm keeping that open, and I can't believe I even asked the developer to put that cost in there, and it kind of got weighed out. We also was looking at expanding the slide and taking it out the building and everything, so like I said, once we start crunching numbers and everything, looking at that one, that's not totally off the table for me.
Okay.
And just right now, our finance team did a quick little, what can we afford for a bond? And what we know, what we have needs in the parks and now
Yes.
what Brad just presented. So for just his project on the pool side of things, we're about 13 to 15, maybe
Yeah.
more million.
Yeah.
And the max we could potentially bond maybe up to 16 million. And we have about $40 million worth of need between the park system and our Pirates Cove and the rec center. So we're a little short. So we're gonna get real strategic. It may be something, and we'll keep bringing this to you as we start narrowing things down. Our intent was to have these designs to the public at Pirates Cove this last summer, but like everything, it's just not as fast as we want it to be. And so we'll need your help with the bond, obviously, as we pull into the new year and have a better idea on the park side. Those designs are happening right now, and we'll bring them to you probably after the first of the year to show some ideas that we have for some of the parks. So we'll have to get real strategic and figure out what we can do moving forward. But it's exciting, and both our initiatives on the ballot passed for police and for streets.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that a parks bond would be very appetizing for most of our residents to vote yes on. So
I thought the exact same thing when I saw that passed. I was like, look at us.
Yes, that was good.
We
it's
usually
great,
don't
actually.
approve things.
I'm very excited about both items on there. So, any other ideas or questions for Brad?
What kind of impacts would the new features have on staffing numbers?
Great question. At Pirates Cove, really, it may only be having to add 1 or 2 lifeguard positions. Part of the thing was looking at replacing the competitive pool, that one usually takes 4 lifeguards to do that one alone with a head lifeguard overseeing all of that. The way with the slide configuration, it is a run out slide versus a slide catch pool. Slide catch pools are 3 feet 5 inches or 6 inches, to where the run out slide is only about 8 inches. So there's not as much attention that has to be given at that run out, and they can watch both of those come down. And then with the leisure pool, I'd only need a couple more. So we can actually almost match that. What we have, the mat racer, once again, take a couple more, but yeah, probably no more than 4 additional staff would be needed for lifeguards. So.
My other question was,
No, go ahead.
Sure.
Is there a revenue argument between the cost and improvement of a 3-month-a-year Pirates Cove versus a 12-month year-round rec center pool upgrade, as far as when you'd actually see that return on investment?
Yeah, if we go the rec center, the cost to redo the rec center pool, just compare what Thornton had to do with Market Carpenter Recreation Center. They kind of redid their whole aquatics place, and it was to the tune of 25 or $28 million is what they ended up to do that one. So it would take a lot, it would take quite a few years to go ahead and do that analysis. I don't have that written down, but I can look into that as well. Pirates Cove definitely would recoup that cost. Probably, we're running in the net from the report to this year would be about $275,000. So take that times the $8 million, $12 million, what the return on investment would be.
Okay, yeah, I assumed that there wasn't kind of a separation between, like, if you wanted to have a pool only membership that you could have versus the entire gym. But I guess if you're absorbing the entire cost of just a gym membership, that it's hard to recoup that to just improve the pool, unless you're gonna double or triple a gym membership type of thing.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
when I think about a 38-year-old pool structure and the roof, would the Ninja feature hanging from the roof, would that also require engineering to support that, or is the roof relatively solid?
It should be solid. We took a quick look at it with building maintenance and kind of got a rough idea with that, what we would have to get a engineer in there to look at it and make sure that it was sturdy enough. The company, of course, they're gonna say, oh yeah, we can do that one there too, but we're gonna take a further study before we suspend it from the roof. So.
Great, exciting, so exciting.
It is.
Okay, now, our construction.
Yeah, now we'll move on.
Yeah, okay,
to
we'll
old
do that one now. Perfect.
Park construction.
Just quick update, still under construction at Centennial and Baker. Cush and Jason, and Cushing Park's pretty much done, so we have some little bitty things going on there, but nothing major. Romans Park, we redid the pathway, it was asphalt pathway through there. That's fully complete now, it's back open, so that's a concrete pathway through Romans. All that's left at that park is irrigation down the road, so that'd be part of the bond project and irrigation is expensive. It's not cheap. Centennial, it's moving along quite well. We've got pretty much everything in place, just waiting for the playground. Still estimates of the playground for Baker and Centennial is February. Hopefully it comes in before that, but. And then Jason, the new restroom's been installed. The concrete's been poured around the new shelter, basketball goals are set, and so we're just waiting on the backboard. So that's moving along as well. It's just creepy. Never as fast as we want it to be, but all in progress and going well. For next year, we'll be focusing on Bates Logan, finishing up these couple playgrounds, but focusing on Bates Logan and renovating the restroom and picnic shelter and pathway there.
Any questions from commissioners on these parks? Okay, fun park statistical report.
Oh, yes. So this is coming from code enforcement. This is specifically showing warnings and actual summons being offered and given at the various parks. So it kind of gives you an idea of what's going on. We're getting a lot of reports from our park staff and from residents that we have off-leash dogs in all our parks still. And so in January, code enforcement manager Dave Lewis, myself, Adrian Torres, our parks open space manager, and Lindsay Peterson, who's our open space activity supervisor, would go into council to give a more detailed reports of what's going on. We are looking at pet licensing as an option if council wants to move forward with that. More signage most likely for the parks that are dogs on leash. We'll have signs that state that dogs must be on leash. We've had reports from Jason. People don't realize the north side only is on off leash. And so just putting more signage, that's always been a challenge, more signage, more signage. If people see it or not, we don't know, sometimes not, but. So this is just giving you an overview. We've almost got a full year's worth of data here, and that's why we're going to council in January, because they did want an update of how things were going and get that report, so.
Did you hear about the gates, something loosening up?
Yes, one bolt came off a gate at Jason Park and it made it to next door. Not a big deal. We literally put the bolt back on, used some Loctite, which holds them real tight on there, and we're fine. That was just one bolt that came out and it made the news. If next door is the news nowadays.
So they made a big deal of that.
Yeah.
Well,
I thought it was a big deal until I saw it. I'm like, oh.
Your meeting in January will make the news too, because we'll be making all the parks off-leash dog parks again, so don't worry.
Okay.
That's kind of my whole thing, because like we went through this whole thing and it was gonna be like a year of kind of trying this new thing and seeing what's up, and it kind of sounds like maybe it's not going like we thought. Do you think there's potential to like reopen this can of worms and go back to like shutting down the off-leash program altogether?
That's not the intent for the January
Yeah.
meeting. I think it's to fine tune it, because we're on the right path. Are we? I believe so. One of the, and I have not had this conversation yet, but initially seeing this report, we're still educating a lot of people
Yeah.
and being kind to people and saying, hey, put your dog on a leash. This is not an off-leash park. Council may give direction to offer more summons, which is, it'll hit your wallet. I know our parks, one of our park supervisors got hit in Denver. It was $250 for his dog being off leash, and will he ever do that again? No. And so I think money talks and taking a harder line to actually give people tickets to have their dogs off leash.
Yeah.
That word will get out quick. They won't
Yeah.
like it. Nobody will like us for
No.
doing that, but to try to get a handle on how this is going, that might be a direction, not guaranteed, but we have the fence up at Jason. We did have some complaints from like Pirate Youth Sports, but they have full control of closing and opening those gates when they are there. And so we've put the power in their hands to close those gates to keep the dogs out. They've asked their parents and families not to bring dogs to the practices or games, to continue to encourage no dogs on the field so they can have a good experience. it will be a work, I mean, we're changing 20 years worth of off leash in Inglewood to fine tune it even further, and we're close. It's just, it's gonna be a process.
I think the registration
Yeah,
will make a difference. I still don't understand why council
didn't like that.
yeah, and I would hate to even try to second guess this council, but I'll be there saying, we need to register them.
Yeah.
I mean,
Registration would be good for a lot of reasons.
Yeah.
Not just off
Not
leash.
just that.
Not just off
Just
leash.
for our shelter and for
Yeah.
human safety reasons, and I think.
Returning dogs back to their homes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I know our officers, our code enforcement, police, park ranger would much rather look at a dog's collar and say, oh, you live here, call a phone number,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
and we can return them back to their home. Like, that's a good
Yeah.
day versus taking them to the shelter.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we'll see how
Sorry,
that
Jen, I
goes.
didn't
We'll keep you updated, and, if we're able to, we might bring the presentation to you all prior, but it'll depend on code enforcement. This will be code enforcement heavy presentation, so.
you know, on nice days right now since November 1, I would encourage you to go, if you can during the week, down to Jason Park in the morning. Just see how many dogs
Yeah.
are there. I mean, if it's a nice day, it's amazing.
I met someone, I was at a work conference, and I met someone, and I said I lived in Englewood, and they're like, oh my gosh, you have the off-leash dogs. And I said, no, that's not truly what it is. And they're like, well, I think it's completely off-leash in Englewood. And I was like, no, I'm telling you, like, that's not what it is. Believe me, I know, that's not what it is. And they were like, oh, well, we should change it then, so it is completely off-leash at all times. And I was like, honestly, like, please do not even get me started. And I think that, like, that education piece is still, like, huge. Like, I don't know if it's like we still have new people coming into the city and they don't know it. I don't know what it is, but like, this person was, and then he was really gung-ho on the fact that it should be all off-leash. And I said, well, you know, there's lots of open seats on lots of boards, so if you would like to get involved, I suggest you do, because I don't know. It was a very frustrating conversation.
What's interesting is I was at the National Conference for Parks and Recreation in Phoenix, and I laughed because this happened when I was in Breckenridge for the Colorado Parks and Recreation Association Conference. Off-leash dogs and pickleball were the top two trends and topics, and of course the room kind of went silent when somebody say off-leash dogs. So it's not just Inglewood dealing with it. I think it's a nationwide issue, just because dogs have become people's kids. I'm guilty of that. And they want to have their dogs as family in the parks and enjoying it like a kid would, and they let their dogs off leash because they trust their dog. So it's not just Inglewood.
Mine, I would
I
not
don't
want
even-
her off leash.
Mine would be gone. You see that. But you know, it is definitely a trend. Dogs and you see them in restaurants. I saw a dog sitting in a booth at a restaurant last week. I'm like, this isn't cool.
Maybe
But-
not cemetery.
Yeah, it's not just us, it's nationwide, and I've had a lot of calls from other agencies throughout the country, Washington, Oregon, New Jersey called, and they said, how did you manage this? I said, we still are managing this, and it's not easy because it was a change for our community, and it's gonna be our public works director made a comment about shifting culture in an organization. It's like turning the Titanic. It takes a while to do this, and I think this is a good example of it's gonna take a little time for everybody to understand how we utilize off-leash. in our
Just
parks.
18 years that I've been on this board, we've been,
Yeah, that Titanic's still turning.
and it's still turning.
At least it's turning. Anyway. Okay, any more staff's choice?
I'll just mention, we just had the Maui Holiday Bazaar this last Saturday. We had 2,600 people come through the doors of Maui and 110 vendors, and it was a really nice event if you were able to attend it. Some great things being sold, a lot of handmade materials, which I love, so it was good. And then coming up, we've got the tree lighting ceremony here at City Hall, right out here, December 3rd from 2 to 6. We have seen some things on social media, like the Parade of Lights downtown is happening. This will be almost finished and done before that kicks off, and so we knew that was happening. But that's going on, and then Holiday Express is happening December 9th, 10th, 16th, and 17th down at Bellevue Park, and tickets are selling out. We are getting very close to being sold out of that event, so if you want tickets or somebody that wants tickets, definitely get on and purchase them early.
Great.
Do you need volunteers on that?
We love volunteers, yeah, all the help we can get is always nice to have, because if you were there last year, it was very busy and a lot of people moving around, so
Yeah.
love to have them. It's cold, dress warm if you do volunteer. Texas Roadhouse is sponsoring the volunteers and providing food as, for the volunteers, as well as they're doing the s'mores this year. So last year they did hot chocolate. This year we have a hot chocolate truck coming that also have cider and some other things. So if you have tickets, that's part of your ticket as you get that. So it should be good.
Brad, do you have anything else?
I don't.
Okay. Gary, do you have anything to add? Perfect. Listen.
Was his head shaking?
No.
So are you there?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
No, oh no, just some great information tonight. Thank you for Brad and Kristen for sharing, and it's great to see you guys.
You too, Gary. And then I never know where to put you, so I'll start with Commissioner's Choice, and I'll start with you, Jim. I'm not sure whether you're staff or commissioner, so we'll just start.
I don't know what I'm.
Yeah, I don't either.
Jack of all trades.
Yeah,
I'm liaison.
that's
There
right.
you
Well, the only thing I had written down there, a couple things, was the registration, dog registration. I know Sean and I, the city manager and I, were talking about that, and would I support that? Yeah, I would support that real quick. And I mean, one of the big arguments I have with some of these people is, you know, they complain about the sports stuff, and gee whiz, how much do they pay for renting those fields? Well, they're paying for them in their taxes like you are. And they do pay fees for rentals. But also, I mean, the amount we pay for doggy bags is just enormous. It's incredible for the parks. So anyway, that is going to be coming up. And council has at least mentioned, and I certainly mentioned, this was a one-year pilot plan, and we are going to look at it at the beginning of the year.
Great.
The other thing is mailing trust fund. We had approved, I think, for 2023, what was it, $36,000 coming from the fund?
34 something.
34. Okay, for improvements over there and stuff. There's also going to be some major exterior street improvements that are being funded through a grant from Dr. Cog, I believe. And of course, there's some city money in there, some match. And that's going to happen this winter. So,
Actually, I looked that up to make sure we knew when it was happening, because Mally wasn't aware of it. It's not happening until next year. So I think August 2023 is the completion date. This is just the initial approval to get the grant in place.
maybe it was the design and stuff.
That's, I think,
happening.
what it was by the end of this year. That'll be finished. Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking when I saw it, that why would they do that work in the winter? They're gonna tear
Probably
up
not.
sidewalks and bulb outs and,
Yeah, make it easier for pedestrians to get to Mally and Simon Center and Orchard Place right there. Yeah.
so that's all I had.
Thanks. Cody?
I don't have anything.
Karen?
Nothing.
Kate?
Okay, so I have one thing, but it's kind of silly. Have you guys seen these God Bless Bates Logan stickers?
No.
So when I walk around the neighborhood driving, people have these bumper stickers that say God Bless Bates Logan, and I'm so curious where they're coming from. So I just don't know if anyone knows,
No.
right?
I wonder if it's part of that, I think it's part of that neighborhood project
I don't know.
that the city's doing, like.
I've seen them like
branding the
everywhere.
neighborhoods.
Could be, maybe, but I'm so curious, because if it is part of like the neighborhood things, like that's really cute, and like giving that to, you know, like people can promote their parks. I just thought it was so cute.
Wow.
So I don't know, keep your eyes out, but if anyone knows where you
Yeah,
can get one of
That
those.
sounds like a next door question to me.
You know what, you're probably right.
Yeah, find out the details.
I don't know, they're cute, and that's my park, so I kind of want one.
I'll ask Nathaniel.
Yeah.
That's his, right? He lives right.
I mean, that's his park too.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, since that's your park, we're proposing putting a very nice inclusive playground as phase 2
Yeah.
into that park. In fact, we've reached out to GOCO and Arapahoe County
Yeah.
to see if we can combine grants to do something spectacular there.
Yeah.
So we did a public meeting already. That'll be after the first of the year. We'll be doing another one, so
Yeah,
we'll
please let me know.
we'll keep you guys updated on
Reach out
that.
to Colorado Health Foundation too on that one.
Okay, Colorado Health, okay. Awesome.
Yeah. And I'm happy to help on that.
Okay,
you
cool.
know.
Yeah, this could be really cool.
It could be really, really
Yeah.
cool. Steve,
I'm good.
Mark,
All set, thank you.
and I don't have anything either. So if there's anything else for the good of the order, I will dismiss the meeting. Okay.
Are we good to meet in December, I guess? I forgot about that question.
Oh, yeah.
You guys want to meet?
Do we need to meet? Anything pressing? Lost Parks is it going into January?
If you have that presentation, that's the only thing I
It'll
did.
probably be January when we
Okay.
have it, because we'll update these stats at the end of December,
Yeah.
and then we'll have a board meeting. I think we proposed going to council like the 22nd or 3rd, so we would have this meeting in
Okay.
January.
My opinion is that we ought to have it in December at Broken Tea in the restaurant. I mean, that was traditionally what was always
Yeah.
done after, what,
I like that.
15 years that I was on.
I say we
Before
do it.
that, it was,
I voted. I haven't checked out the restaurant yet, so.
Debbie probably
I can-
remembers
good.
I
long.
can
Is
check
it?
on availability, see if the restaurant's open.
Let's do it.
Okay.
I will have childcare, so I'm in for that, but I will be exhausted because I will have child number 2, so just be aware.
Oh, congrats, that's so exciting.
December 1st, so if it's the following week, I will be running on like 3 hours of sleep a night, but I'll be there because I will have in-laws to watch the kids.
Love it.
You'll have plenty of childcare there.
Yeah, just bring your oldest with you.
Yeah.
It's pretty cute.
Just send me spaghetti.
He's getting to be the fun age, though.
Okay, we'll check on Broken Sea see if that night is available, and if so, we can have the meeting there and
Love that.
enjoy
Yeah,
something.
Holiday cheer together.
yeah.
Yeah, holiday cheer. Okay.
It's the only way I can find setting aside some money.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye,
Bye.
guys. Thank you.
Y'all have a great evening.